Good morning. Here's a big question today. Are grizzly bears ready to make it on their own without federal protection, or do they still need it to stay safe? Some ranchers in the area say that they're worried about their livestock since more grizzlies around could mean more attacks on cattle and sheep. They argue that if the states had more control, they could act faster and protect their animals. But wildlife experts say that the most conflicts could be avoided with better safety practices like securing trash and using electric fencing. They also point out that the grizzlies are not naturally aggressive towards humans if left alone, and that learning to live alongside these animals is part of what conservation efforts are trying to achieve. Grizzly bears have been coming back after decades of near extinction in the lower 48 states. Their comeback is seen by many as one of the greatest wildlife recovery stories in America. But as our populations expand, they sometimes wander into towns, campgrounds, and hiking trails, which makes safety a concern for everyone. Officials are also debating how to balance conservation with human activities since hunting, habitat loss, and climate change can all affect the bear's future. A lot of people feel a strong connection to the grizzlies because they're such an important symbol of the wilderness in the United States. Many tribes consider the bear sacred and want to make sure it's treated with respect. With so many strong opinions, it's clear that whatever decision is made will have a big impact on both people and wildlife. With that, we will now send it to our field correspondent, reporter Owen, who is live on the scene.
Today, I'm going to explain how the forest ecosystem works using the grizzly bear as the main example. An ecosystem is all living and non-living things in the area and how they interact with each other. In a forest, every plant, animal, and natural element plays an important role to help the environment stay healthy and balanced. Grizzly bear lives in a forest ecosystem that includes tall trees, flowing rivers, berry bushes, insects, deer, and salmon. Even things you don't usually talk about, like rock, soil, sunlight, are part of the system. All these pieces connect that support life in the forest. The sun is the starting point for most energy in the ecosystem. The sunlight helps plants grow, which these plants are called producers. Animals such as insects and deer eat these plants, which makes them consumers. Grizzly bears are also consumers, but they get their energy in many different ways, like berries, insects, fish, and sometimes even larger animals. Because the variety of foods grizzly bears are connected to many parts of the forest. To show why every part of the grizzly bear ecosystem matters. If one piece is removed, like plant species disappearing in the water supply because it's becoming too polluted, the entire system can be thrown off balance. Understanding these relationships help us see why it's so important to protect our forests and our wildlife that depend on them. A healthy ecosystem doesn't just support our grizzly bears, it supports every living thing within it. The grizzly bear lives in a forest ecosystem that includes tall trees, flowing rivers, berry bushes, insects, deer, and salmon. Even things we don't usually talk about, like rock, soil, and sunlight, are part of the system. All these pieces connect to support the life in the forest.
Hi, I'm here with Daniel, and I have a few questions for you, Daniel. The first question I was going to ask you, what cause and effect relationship is happening to the grizzly bear due to human interactions?
Human interactions are affecting the grizzly bear's habitat. This makes it harder for the grizzly bears to find food, mates, and a safe way to travel. Grizzly bears are often found wandering into towns that were built in the grizzly bear's habitat, looking for food. This results in the grizzly bears being relocated or killed. Climate change is also a factor. Food is less available for the grizzly bear. There are fewer berries and changes in salmon patterns due to climate change.
Okay. My question 2 was hunting also part of the endangerment?
Yes, hunting was part of the grizzly bear's endangerment. Grizzly bears are hunted from 1840 to 1975 until protection measures were implemented. Grizzly bears were hunted to protect livestock for their food, for their fur, and because they were also seen as dangerous.
Okay, my third question is, what are the effects due to the grizzly bear's endangerment?
Grizzly bears are a keystone species, so their decline is affecting entire ecosystems. Grizzlies spread seeds from berries. If there are not enough grizzly bears, there will be fewer plants. Grizzlies also dig for roots and rodents, which fertilize the soil. Other species rely on the leftovers of the grizzlies. If there are not enough grizzly bears, there will be not enough food for other species.
Okay, thank you, Daniel, for those answers. I'm going to send it to my field reporter, Ben.
Grizzly bears are threatened species that live in a coniferous forest, and many of the problems we face are caused by human activities. One major issue is deforestation. When humans cut down trees, it destroys a natural habitat that grizzlies depend on for food, shelter, and space to roam. As forests shrink, bears are forced into closer contact with people, which can lead to dangerous encounters. Unfortunately, these conflicts sometimes end with the bears getting hurt or even killed because they no longer have enough safe places to hide. Another big challenge for grizzlies is the increasing presence of vehicles in forest areas. Cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles create loud noises that disturb wildlife and can scare animals away from their normal feeding or resting spots. Vehicles also pose physical danger since animals can be hit and killed on roads. As more roads are built to support human travel and recreation, even more habitat is lost. This makes it harder for grizzlies to find the food and shelter they need to survive, and it pushes them into closer proximity of humans, increasing the chance of dangerous encounters. Another issue grizzly bears deal with is hunting and poaching. Even though there are laws that protect them, some people still legally hunt grizzlies for their fur, claws, or just as a trophy. This reduces their population even more and makes it harder for the species to recover. Sometimes hunters also kill grizzlies by accident because they mistake them for other animals. Every time a bear is killed, it affects the whole ecosystem, since grizzlies play an important role in keeping nature balanced. Laws and enforcement help, but still a big problem that threatens their. In addition, human activities like camping, hiking, and leaving trash out can also affect bears. Bears have a strong sense of smell, and if you find food near homes or campsites, they may return again and again. This not only puts people at risk, but can also lead to authorities having to relocate or even kill the animals. Overall, human actions like deforestation, heavy vehicle use, and careless behavior in bear habitats are major reasons why grizzly bears continue to struggle in the wild. Protecting these animals requires careful planning, respect for space, and ongoing efforts to preserve a forest where they live.
The recovery of the grizzly bear is a major conservation success, but has created some continuous debates. Should the threatened species be delisted and managed by the states, or do they still require federal protection? The grizzly is a keystone species, one whose activities within the ecosystem are known to aerate the soil, distribute seeds, and regulate the size of other animal populations. Its survival is important to the entire environment. While conflicts increase with the expansion of bear territory, the focus needs to shift from their protection to successful coexistence. This includes measures as the mandatory bear-proof food storage and further investments in non-lethal conflict. Migration techniques such as range riders to protect both humans' interests and the long-term future of the bear. That concludes our special education report about